Hello loves, I'm in the park today. My name's Jasmina. This is my first video. But yeah, I just thought I'd come to the park, record some pieces of this video, record pieces of it later. But yeah, welcome. Hello, I am back. But yes, so now we're going to get started with this video. So this video is kind of related to my TikTok, which is SpirtualBPDSoul, or this SpirtualBPDSoul. And today I'm going to be talking about ODSP, which is Ontario Disabilities Support Program. Got my friend Kika here, my baby girls. And yeah, I got a lot of questions on the one post I made. and I kind of talked a little bit about stuff, but I wanted to make a longer than 3-minute video. And I've been wanting to start YouTube for a while now, and just mentally, I feel like now is a part of my journey where it would do more help than hinder. Because before, social media was kind of, but now it's become honestly very inspiring and helpful, and I want to create, I want to share my opinions, my thoughts, what's helped me heal. So today I'm going to be talking about ODSP. You can expect more videos in the future, but today I'm going to kind of keep it just chill. So the first part of this video, I'm going to talk about me so that we can understand my case with ODSP. So first, I'll talk a little bit about ODSP. ODSP is a support program in Ontario, Canada, that helps people who are disabled physically and mentally. In Canada, mental health can be considered a disability, depending how it affects you and how severe the aspects are. And if it's been temporary, like if you had a little bit of anxiety or had a lot of anxiety and then start taking meds and now you're doing better, or if it's something that has been reoccurring and hasn't gone away, which is very common for personality disorders, because it's your personality. So especially with borderline, it can be very, very hard and difficult to do all that. And so I went on ODSP about 2 years ago. I applied for it. I've been on it for about 1.5 years. When I first applied, it was like 4 months after I first applied and got everything together, and they declined me. And then I had to appeal the process, which took, I believe, another month or two. And yes, that was my case. But I'm going to talk a little bit about what I'm diagnosed with and my hospital record and stuff like that, so that people who have similar circumstances can relate, or people that maybe, don't understand what they need to get on it, but are realizing, that they need to be on ODSP can see, okay, these are some documents I might need. These are some things that will help me along my path of getting on ODSP. And I wanted to first say something too. There's so much stigma with it, and being on disability and getting money from the government, and just go get a job. It's not that easy. We all have our own reasons. I'm very thankful that I don't have any physical disabilities that are actually physically stopping me from working, but my mental disabilities make working extremely difficult. I had a plan to work. I had dream jobs my entire life. And little dream jobs, hey, I want to work at a bookstore. Not big dream jobs, little stuff. I want to work at Indigo. I want to work at a nursery, where they do plants. And I had my first job, and I learned a lot from it, and I'm thankful for the experience. But I realized that I couldn't handle working right now, and I realized that I couldn't handle working, anything I need to be self-employed. So my plan is to do all my schooling while on ODSP, and then to slowly wean myself off once I have my degrees and make my own business and start my own business. That's my personal plan. And yeah, it's not like this is my first option. I wanted to be a correctional psychologist, but I realized I could not handle 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. I would lose my mind, and that's okay. You know, sometimes, yeah, you can still make your dreams possible. And I want to work in a prison facility at some point and help inmates. And I'm going to do that by volunteering now instead. And when I get my yoga certification, I'm going to do free yoga classes at the women's jail here in my area. So we can still make those dreams come true, but sometimes, yeah, when you're disabled, there's certain dreams that you have that sometimes you gotta modify them. Like, I really did dream of working and being in university and working at the same time, but then when I actually had a job, I couldn't handle it. I worked 2 shifts a week, 4-hour shifts, and did part-time high school, and I ended up in hospital. I couldn't handle it. And there's no shame in that. Even if you need to be on ODSP or any disability support program your entire life, there's no shame in that. And at the same time, it's not a death sentence. You know, just because you're on it doesn't mean you're going to be on it forever. And that's completely okay. Now to the next part of this video. So the next part is where I'm going to be talking a bit about myself, my diagnoses, all that stuff. So, I have borderline personality disorder, obsessive compulsive disorder, which has been made worse because I've had multiple concussions, bulimia nervosa, and I'm currently talking to my doctor to get a specialist in eating disorders because I believe I might have orthorexia as well, which is the obsession with healthy foods and exercising and stuff like that. I can be very bad about that stuff, and it's very difficult to control the impulses. I also have major depression and generalized anxiety, as well as an undiagnosed phobia disorder. I've never really looked into diagnosing it, but I've just made through, it's carried on like all my life. I have agoraphobia, so I hate leaving the house. I have a fear of knees, which is a thing. I can't remember what it's called, and I remember I couldn't pronounce it anyway, so that's why I didn't include it, because I'm also dyslexic. I also have a trauma 2 phobia, which is a phobia of certain traumas happening. So like my Achilles getting cut, oh god. I understand some of those fears are normal, but mine are to the point that I will sit in uncomfortable positions for hours because I've envisioned it or I've seen it in a movie, and now I'm hyperventilating, thinking that somebody's going to come into my house and cut my Achilles. I won't stand up, I won't walk. Yeah. So, I'm 19. At the time I applied, you become eligible for ODSP once you are 18. You can apply to child ODSP, which is before you're 18, but I didn't want to go through 2 processes, so I just bared with it until I turned 18. I had a whole bunch of accommodations for my mental health in school, as well as learning disabilities in school. So of course that's all documentation that I've had growing up. I was first officially diagnosed and treated with mental health. And this, mind you, was just major depression and generalized anxiety when I was 13, which is when I started taking medication. Yes. So medication is another big part. If you have to be on medication, I feel like there is a bigger chance that you're going to be on ODSP because you do need the insurance to cover your drug plan. So I do believe that the amount of medications or the medications on file, like if you're, I don't know personally, but I believe that the medications do help your case. But I'm on 3 antipsychotics and 1 antidepressant. So that's my case, and now I'll move on to the next part. I am back home. We are going to move on to the next part. I am currently filling up my pool. Yes, we cleaned it all out. We're filling it up. But yeah, let's go. Okay, so the next part. This part's going to be separated into 2 sections. So first, I'm just going to give some information I think is important on ODSP. And then I'm going to go into some of the paperwork I have, look through it, and just point out some things I think are important to know. So first of all, the cap for a singular person is $1,169. It's a lot of people that can't afford much with that, of course, with today's rent and how expensive everything is. And you can go on low-income housing, and I'm on a wait list. But the wait lists are usually 5 years plus. So I've been on it for a year, and nothing. So yeah, there's 2 issues there. There needs to be more low-income housing, and disability needs to get paid livable wages. I am very lucky because ODSP, I would say, is ideal if you have a stable relationship with your parents and you're mentally ill or you're mentally disabled, because you can pay your parents' rent, and then you don't have to usually pay, like the prices of, the market, and it can make the wage livable. So right now I live at a livable wage, and I can actually survive off of what I have. Yeah, it's not easy, but I have a way better life than a lot of people on ODSP have. So I'm very grateful for that, but that is something to keep in mind, that many people can only pay their rent with ODSP. And that needs to change. But also, I'm very thankful for the situation I have, and I hope more people have the same situation I have, and can have a good relationship with a parent, or both their parents. Mine is with my mom. And then like, I've decided I don't even want to move. Because I have a great relationship with my mom, and I can survive off of what I make here. If I was by myself, I would be struggling. So it does make it ideal to live with your parents. And if you have a good relationship with your parents, then that's the most ideal with ODSP, I would say. And I know a lot of other people that are in that situation with their parents and on ODSP. But that's one of the ideal situations, and I'm thankful that I have it. Another thing is that if you live with your partner, there are all these stupid rules. And one of them is that your partner, if you live with them, is financially dependent of you. So depending how much they make, you will get less. It's stupid. It is really frustrating. It makes it so a lot of people have to, or will go against the rules, and then they end up getting screwed over. And it's just, just because I'm disabled doesn't mean my partner is financially responsible for me. I am financially responsible for myself. And, it's not that same way where, and I've heard too with OW at least, and I don't know if ODSP is the same, but sometimes they'll give money to the male partner. And it's just, they set you up completely for financial abuse, and to get abused by your partner and to be stuck. So that's something to keep in mind. You get a lot of insurance. There's a lot of things that insurance covers. I was able to get my wisdom teeth out for free. But that being said, you also have to find places that take government insurance. Not everywhere takes it, and some places only take a certain amount. So it was a pain in the ass, and you're not going to get the best dentist all the time. That's just the reality of it. It sucks. It's not how it should be. But a lot of the high-end dentists have a limit, and they've already reached their limit all the time. Or they don't take government insurance. So you have to go to whatever you can find. They will cover a lot of meds, not all meds, but a lot of meds. It's one of those things, you go in, you get your prescription, and you see if they cover it or not, see if you're screwed or not, or you look into it and ask them. You can be responsible like that, but I kind of just play it by if I'm going to be screwed or not. You get 8 sessions of counseling. I believe it's every year, and that's like free counseling, like you pay nothing for it, but it's like the low income counseling that's available. Yes, now you can get more money on ODSP, and there are a few ways. If you need a taxi to your doctor's appointments, you can set that up. They pay for ambulance bills. And my biggest tip with this is that if you have an ambulance bill, do not pay it out of pocket. Send it to ODSP right away. They will take forever to pay you back, but if you just send the bill right to them, then they'll get it figured out. So it saves you money. There's also a whole bunch of other things on the program that you can get money for. I believe it's if you're doing training, you can get clothes for training, and they'll give you, you all have to go through this process and get doctors or people to sign off on it, and then you get it. But the other thing I was going to mention, and I can talk more about this in the future, is those with allergies and special dietary requirements get more money. I'm not sure how much more, but they get more. I am currently in the process of getting my doctor to give me the form that says that I'm dairy free, or that I'm lactose intolerant, because I've noticed how much better I feel eating dairy free products. I just feel so much better. So, and I always had a problem with it. I just kept ignoring it. I was like, whatever. But now I really notice it. Now I'm like, oh, when I eat dairy free, I feel good all day. I don't get tummy aches. And I used to be a tummy ache girl. So I'm trying to get more money for that. I will let everybody know how that process goes and update on that. But yes, that's the first part of my ODSP talk. Okay, now we're going to move on to the next part where I talk about ODSP, which this part might be a little messy, but this is where we're talking about documentation. Documentation is one of the most important things for situations like this. So my recommendation for people is that if you have a hospital incident, if you need to go to hospital, if you end up in hospital and they put you on some type of form, where they take away your rights or whatever it is, however long, 72 hours, a certain amount of weeks, ask them for the paper copy of that. Get the paper copy of everything, because you need documentation. That's how you get on this program, is from all of the documentation you have, from all of the proof you have. So get everything. Like this is all, none of this is ODSP papers. This is all my forms. This is all my mental health, my low-income housing, I've been on like 6 or 7 Form 1s, my hospital papers, my OSAP papers, because you can get OSAP on ODSP for schooling. You just don't get, what is it called? Living money from OSAP. You just get the school amount, so the amount you need. But that being said, if you have mental disabilities, you will get more from OSAP as well. Because you need more equipment, you need more stuff. Like I need a printed copy, so I need to have a printer. I need to get ink for my printer. So all of that, you get more money. But yes, you don't get the living benefits of OSAP. You just get the schooling benefits of OSAP if you're on ODSP. Which honestly isn't that bad, because then you don't owe much. You don't owe as much. And not only that, but when you have mental disabilities, you get a lot more grants. So you get a lot more free. I got lots of scholarships from the school because of my average. works at a 94 average because I'm mentally disabled. Yes. So because I classify as a minority because of disability, I also got something there too as well. So you get a lot more when you have these things if you're going to school. But now let's go through the paper. I don't have all of the paper, mind you, because a lot of it you have to send in. So I'm gonna first start with this. So the adjudication process. You just got your papers. You just applied. You just got connected. They just sent you your papers. What do you have to do? So there is like 4 things you have to do. You have to do a self-report where you report your stuff, and there you'll do a day of your life. A consent to release the medical form and related, so the consent, a health status report, and activities of daily living index, which is what you get your doctor to fill out. And then, yes. So the health status report and activities of daily living index, I believe, are 2 different parts. But yes, that's where you can get a family doctor, a specialist, a psychologist, a psychological associate, a registered nurse. And then for the activities of daily living, you can get a family doctor, a chiropractor, an occupational therapist, psychologist, psychological associate, social worker. There's a lot more you can do with the index of daily living. The health report, most likely your doctor. But you get a lot of papers when you first apply. It's really overwhelming. It scared the crap out of me. I had a panic attack. But it is important to always read the papers. And I would say, even if you don't read it while you're applying, because you don't know if you're going to get on, you don't know how long this process is going to be, blah, 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 blah. Understandable. Once you're on it, or if you get on it, read those papers. See what you're entitled to. So once you're on it, you're not on it forever. That's not how it works. Your case gets reviewed after a certain amount of years, and you don't not get paid. I don't know exactly how it works, but they send it to your doctor, and you do a thing with your doctor. So I will have to do that, and I will let everybody knows anything I learn on that journey. But so far, I got put on it for 4 years before my case needs to get reviewed again, and I've been on it for 1.5 years. So I still got some time. So you get benefits under ODSP. It depends what it is. It depends, what the procedure is, but I'm just going to list off everything. Look into more detail if you need it, because you don't know what is covered and isn't. But there's drug coverage, dental coverage, vision care and hearing aids, mandatory special necessities, so like diabetic supplies, special diet allowance, which is what I'm currently applying for, pregnancy/breastfeeding nutritional allowance, mobility devices, batteries and repairs, assistant devices, guide dog benefits, discretionary benefit for low-cost energy conservation measures, discretionary benefits, employment startup benefits, work-related benefits, upfront childcare cost, extended health benefits, transitional health benefits, employment transition benefits, employment supports, Ontario Works Employment Assistant, and transitional child benefit. If any of those are applicable, look into them for yourself. I'm also looking into discretionary benefits for low-cost energy conservation measures, because I'm always trying to help the planet as I can, and sometimes that can be more expensive. So yes, that's the papers. Yes. So now let me grab the next part. This is what I meant. It was going to be messy. So you haven't even got the papers. You don't know if you qualify yet. You don't even know if you want to. You just So, applying for Ontario Disability Support Program. You have to be 18 years or older, live in Ontario, be financially eligible, have a physical or mental health disability expected to last 1 year or longer that substantially limits your ability to work, look after yourself, or carry out daily activities. So again, very much based on your doctor and who you get to fill out that form and how you express yourself and express your struggle. But yes, now to the next part. So this next part is just some mental health information. So earlier I mentioned that Canada looks at mental health as a disability. So one of the things I was going to point out is that bipolar and major depression are the leading causes of disability in Canada. I can't cite that because I learned it in my psych class this year. But yes, Canada looks at mental health as a disability. Not every country does. Some countries call it different things. From my experience with past friends, Scotland have something that sounds very similar, except they have it, there's more benefits with theirs, and it doesn't label those on the program disabled. It just says they're unfit to work. So it's a different process. So I only speak on Canada, Ontario, because every place is different. Every place, it sucks, but this is the way mental health is. Literally almost every hospital is different the way they'll go about it. So I can be speaking about Ontario, but you might have a completely different experience and still be in Ontario. That's how mental health is at the moment. It sucks. So another thing that I hear a lot, and I was like, is that mental health isn't a disability. You're not disabled. So I wanted to remind people what the definition of disabled is. If you want to say, well, it's not a disability. My mental health isn't a disability, or somebody else's mental health isn't a disability. It all depends on how it affects you. So the definition of disability, disabled, by the Merriam-Webster dictionary is a physical, mental, cognitive, or developmental condition that impairs, interferes with, or limits a person's ability to engage in certain tasks or actions or participate in typical daily activities and interactions. Mental health very easily does that. Phobias are one of the most common mental health disorder problems, and as we can see with agoraphobia and with how some people can be so bad about that, yes, mental health can severely impact your day-to-day activity and how you interact and everything you do. So it can be a disability, and yes. So I will admit, you will most likely, if you get on it, I went through it at least, there's that internalized ableism in society. So when you get on it, at first you're like, yeah, after that long ass process, I'm on it. And then it sets in and you're like, wait, that label that I remember hearing, I'm disabled. And slowly it sets in, and then you have to, work through that internalized ableism that you have. And yeah, it's not easy, but it is. I will say, it's how society is. So don't shit on yourself for it. Just love yourself through the process, and understand that it's okay. We're all different. One of the things I always think about with mental health is I've been reading a lot, and we are not our minds. We are this whole body. We are all these organs. Our mind is just another organ. So people with mental health, sometimes they have problems. Their brain physically has problems. So all that means is that we have an organ that just doesn't work, the same way someone has a heart condition, the same way someone has a kidney condition. We have a brain condition. It's the same thing. So you are more than your brain. But yes, there's nothing wrong with having mental health problems or being on disability. I really want to make that clear. And now for the final part, which, we're going to record in the pool is my tips. So yes, I've been giving tips a little bit along the way, but these are going to be just more of like my big end all tips. First of all, get the free legal aid. On the back of the papers, they'll give you somebody to call. They're not usually the people that help, but they'll redirect you to who's going to help. Yes. The legal aid saved my ass. And saved me so, like, years of having to maybe go to tribunal court. Because legal aid, because they know how to file the papers. They know what ODSP wants. They know what they don't want. They know what's going to get you on, what's not going to get you on. So they look through all of your documents and know what to send in. If you send in too many documents on your appeal process, they'll just say, okay, well, we're going to wait and do a tribunal court. And then that can be when it takes years to get on ODSP. So just get the free legal aid. Whether you do it right at the start or whether you do it when you appeal, you have those two chances. After that, it's tribunal court, and that's when it's a pain in the ass. And I don't have tips for that because I didn't have to go through that process because legal aid saved my ass. So if you have it available, take advantage of that. It is no Kika move. Take advantage of it. Then my next thing is, I said earlier, one of the things they do is the day in your life paper. They don't really give a crap about that. They only care what the doctors say. So don't put your, write, be serious, take it, write the worst day, what a bad day is like. But, write what a bad day is like. But don't put your heart and soul into it and think that that's what's going to save you and that's the only, it's not. It helps a little bit, but they don't really give a crap. With mental health, they usually decline you once. Because they don't want you on the system. That was the best advice I heard. They don't want you to get the money. They don't want you to be disabled. So you gotta prove it. You gotta prove them wrong. That's the goal. They're not on your side. If you don't have a supportive family doctor, I especially then suggest legal aid, because they'll help get you connected to a community support doctor that will sign the papers for you, because some doctors are pains in the ass. I luckily have a very great doctor. She has her problems, but she's still really nice and will do stuff even if she doesn't agree with it. She's like, okay, she didn't think I was gonna get on ODSP, but she's like, you want to. She's like, you want to, so we'll try. And I did. So yeah. My next advice is get your hospital documents. I said this earlier. Always get your hospital papers. Always get them. You can then, some places do it for free, some places don't. You can send a request to release your medical forms. Do it. It's worth it, especially if it's free. I believe they're all my big pieces of advice for it. Legal aid really helped me because ODSP can be picky with how they want stuff filed, what they want, how many documents you file. So legal aid just really helps when you get that free support. That's my biggest piece of advice. But my advice for leading up is get your hospital documentations. Get documentations from your school if you have disabilities or if you have mental health problems and have accommodations. Get all of the physical copies of it. Get it well known. Get support from your school that you need accommodations because of your mental health. There you go. There you have more papers. You just need to keep getting papers, is essentially it. Just keep getting proof. And then legal aid will take what's important and what should be sent in and what shouldn't. So I had 40 documents from my hospital, and they figured out what ones would be useful and what ones weren't. Whereas if I would have sent it in, I would have just sent in all 40, and then they might have batteries dying, but they might have stopped and made me wait to do tribunal court if I sent in all 40 of my hospital documentations. So yeah, it's my biggest piece of advice while you're getting into the process. Get documentations of everything. Get your hospital documentations. Get, your medications. Get in contact with doctors and psychiatrists and psychologists and whoever you can. You really got to get in touch. And yeah, my Form 1s, which is where they take all your rights away in hospital, were what got me on it majorly. Some people, when I talk about it, are like, oh, you can just get on it with borderline? And I'm like, no, that's not it. My borderline had little to do with the case. What they majorly cared about was that I had so many Form 1s, that this was so reoccurring all throughout my life, and that it wasn't going away. That's what they really care about. And every country is different. I'm very thankful to not be from America. I mean, with everything going on, that's obvious. But with their disability program, it's a lot harder with mental health. And it just, I think it's a little wrong. How difficult they make it, what you have to prove. But yes, that's the end of the informational part of this video. Thank you. Ooh, the water's so cold. Thank you so much for joining on this video. I hope that something out of this was helpful, and did something for you. But yes, I'm gonna start making more videos. I'm really excited. I made this video once before and it just didn't turn out today, and then now I did it today and it feels perfect. I'm like, yes, this is exactly what I wanted. So yeah, definitely expect more videos. Thank you so much for being here. I love you all. Have a beautiful day. Oh, fuck.